You all are not going to want to miss today's video because I have got over 30 minutes of awesome breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal inspiration for you guys. We're going to be making some delicious breakfast. I'm going to be making some pork banh mi rice bowls, some homemade beef and noodles, stuffed jalapeno peppers. I'm also going to be making some authentic Chicago hot dogs, also some hibachi at home. This turned out so good, and some macaroni salad and homemade cookies. So let's get right into it. Okay, so we're going to start out with some homemade beef and noodles. So what I have in my slow cooker here is a large chuck roast. I'm going to put this in the slow cooker and let it cook on low all day. I just seasoned it with salt and pepper and some garlic powder. And I've got my egg noodles here. I like to use the Reams home-style egg noodles, and I'm going to make some rolls with it also. Here's what the beef looked like after it cooked all day. You want it to be super tender and easily shreddable. And then I'm also going to boil some water for my noodles. So what I like to do is boil my noodles in beef broth. So I just go ahead and put the noodles on the stove and I add some beef bouillon powder to the water. I don't measure this. I just add what I think is enough. Definitely don't use too much because it can get a little salty, and obviously you can always add more salt later. These noodles take a little bit to cook, probably about 25 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and let those cook while I remove the beef from the slow cooker and shred it. So you can see once these noodles are cooked, they do expand quite a bit. If you can't find these noodles, or you'd rather use, dried egg noodles, you can totally use those as well. I got these rolls from Walmart. I did not realize that Walmart had their own brand of those. They're kind of like the Sister Schubert's rolls. But anyway, I went ahead and drained some of the broth off of the noodles, and I thickened it with a little bit of cornstarch and cold water and added the shredded beef in there. And then you can just go ahead and taste it. Season it as you would like. And this was super simple. I just served it with some rolls on the side. Sometimes I make mashed potatoes, but I didn't have time tonight, but everyone loves this meal. It's super delicious. Okay, so I wanted to pop in here from my hotel room, as I often do, because I am traveling this week, to let you guys know that I had an awesome night of sleep here in my hotel room last night, which is not always the case, but I want to thank Beam for sponsoring today's video. I've been working with them for a while here on my YouTube channel, you guys know, and I love their dream powder. I use it when I travel, but I also use it at home to help me sleep better at night, because as I get older, sleep is one of those things that I'm trying to concentrate on, because it just helps me so much more the next day, be so much more productive when I get a good night's sleep. I'm one of those people that I don't often have trouble falling asleep, but normally what happens is if I get woken up in the middle of the night, either at home because my dog wakes me up, or just because I'm sleeping in a hotel room, I don't normally sleep quite as well, but I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have trouble falling back asleep. But I do notice that when I take the dream powder consistently and I take it before bed, I have a much easier time falling asleep when I do wake up at night. So whether you have issues falling asleep or staying asleep, Beam's Dream Powder contains ingredients to help you do both of those things, whether you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, and they come in a ton of different flavors. If you guys have never tried it before, it's actually really delicious. It kind of tastes like a cup of hot chocolate, which I actually find really relaxing before you go to bed. Sometimes I just think like having a warm drink before you go to bed is very like cozy. And the thing I like about it also is that it has only 15 calories and no added sugar. They actually have 7 different flavors now, including cinnamon cocoa. That is the original one that I started with, which is really delicious. They also have sea salt caramel, chocolate peanut butter, chocolate raspberry, mint chip, which is really delicious. They have a pumpkin spice, so lots of fun fall flavors in there as well. So if you guys are super busy like me and you need to be at your best during the day, you have lots of stuff to do for your kids, for work, for your home, just whatever you have to get done. Obviously a good night's sleep the night before is super important. So I really encourage you to try Beam. If you guys want to try it out, they're offering my viewers a really awesome deal. You guys can go to shopbeam.com/Jen Chapin. And if you subscribe, you're going to save 20% Plus, you can get an extra 15% off on top of that, and you also get a free frother, which is great for mixing up your drink. Just use code Chapin when you check out, or you can also scan the QR code on the screen right here. By using my code, you're gonna get up to 35% off the original price. You can also pause, skip, or cancel your subscription at any time, so there's no risk. So again, I'll have that link in the description box below. Use code Chapin, CHAPIN, to get an additional 15% off plus a free frother. All right, so I am going to prep / make this pork roast in the crock pot. We're gonna have it for dinner tonight, but I'm sure there will be leftovers which I can use for meal prep this week. This is a recipe that I made off of the Freezer Fit website. It's banh mi pork. I will put the link to the Freezer Fit membership in the description box below if you're interested. I have hundreds of recipes over there on the site, and this basically, I forget all the specific ingredients in it. I know this is a pork ribeye, a boneless ribeye roast. It's got jalapeno, maybe rice vinegar, soy sauce, seasoning. So let me get this in the crock pot. And since it's morning right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just put this on low for 8 hours. If it was later in the day and I needed it to cook quicker, I could put it on high, but that will be good for now. All right, so you can see here that our pork is done cooking. It's cooked for 8 hours and it is super, super tender. You know it's cooked long enough when it just falls apart like that with a fork. A lot of times if you cook a big, you know, roast like this, whether it's pork or beef or chicken, I guess really whatever you cook in the slow cooker, if you try to shred it and it doesn't shred easily, chances are you haven't cooked it quite long enough yet. Because the longer it cooks, obviously the meat breaks down more and the fat breaks down, and the dogs are fighting. So I'm gonna shred this up, and then I will just take a little bit out and put it in a little bowl and taste it, just to make sure, you know, does it need salt? Does it need anything else? But it's smelling really good. It smells really garlicky, and there's some fat. I'll take this out. Just garlicky and salty, really. I don't think there was much fat on this roast, but. So I'm gonna make some rice to go with these bowls, obviously. This is a rice washer. I'll link it down below. I'm not gonna measure my rice, but I don't know. If I had to guess, I would probably say about 2 or 3 cups. So we'll have leftovers. And then you just kind of rinse it out in here, and then it has a strainer in it, and you just rinse it until the water is clear, and this will help your rice not be so sticky. It'll help it be more fluffy. I'm gonna make my rice in the Instant Pot, and I know this makes some people twitch, so if you wanna find a recipe for Instant Pot rice, you totally can. But basically, I just fill it up with water until it's about 1/2 inch above the level of the rice, and I find that that is perfect. So let's do pressure cook. Oh, we're gonna do rice. And it's white rice, low, 12 minutes, whatever it says, I just keep it on there and let it go. So I'm gonna make some dumplings also on the side, just because I'm not sure how much my kids are gonna like the pork. It's a little bit spicy. So I've got a couple different kinds in here. I'm just gonna steam those for about 10 minutes. These are I forget, they changed the name of them. Mila, I think, is the new name. These soup dumplings. I'll link them down below. They're a little bit pricey, super delicious. I highly recommend them. I've talked about them several times on my channel. So I'm gonna make some of those, and then I got these from Hy-Vee a while ago. They're the Wow Bao. These are Chinese style barbecue pork. So I'm gonna make those, and then I've got kind of a variety of different toppings for my rice bowls. I'm not gonna have rice. I'm gonna have lettuce with mine. So I'm gonna cut up some of that. I've got red onion, radish, green onion. I guess I don't need red onion and green onion. I could probably just do one or the other. Some matchstick carrots. I'm gonna make some quick pickled carrots with those. I've got cucumbers, red pepper. I don't know if I'm gonna make up this slaw yet. We'll see. And then I've got some cilantro, which I'm gonna get washed. Cilantro is like super dirty. It tends to be like pretty dirty and sandy. So if you're ever tempted not to wash it, don't be, because it's pretty yucky. I've got half a cup of water in this saucepan, and I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, about a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna stir in half a teaspoon of sugar, and basically I've got some shredded carrots, just about a cup of them in this jar here. I'm just trying to get that salt mixed in, and I'm just gonna pour this over the carrots. If I had more time, I should have done this overnight, but I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this in the fridge until we eat. It'll be fine. We've got about an hour, and obviously these will get prepped. I mean, we won't eat all of these tonight, so I can use these throughout the week for bowls and salad. So I used my little OXO mandolin slicer to slice up some radish. I like using it because it makes them very like even and thin. I have this little kind of, I call it like a salad bar meal prep container. I don't know. I'm just gonna put the radishes in one of these. I love kind of prepping this type of stuff at the beginning of the week because there's just so many different things you can do with it. I make a lot of bowls and salads, especially for lunch, so it's perfect for that. I'm gonna go ahead and slice up some red pepper. I was going to make a little cucumber salad out of them, which I guess I still could. I'm out of rice vinegar. I used the last of it to make the carrots, so we'll see. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave the cucumbers unpickled, and then we'll just add like some of the extra juice from the pickled carrots into the bowls. All right. So that's it. We've got our radishes. I also minced up some cilantro after I washed it. We've got our red bell peppers, 2 little sections of cucumber, and some red onion. So the rice is done. I just fluffed it up with a spoon. I added some mirin and just a sprinkle of salt, and our dumplings are done as well. I think what I'm gonna do with this coleslaw mix, instead of shredding up some lettuce, I think I'm just gonna mix about half of this bag of coleslaw. I have some kind of like Asian sesame dressing and some wonton strips. This came from a bagged salad where the lettuce went bad. So I think I'm gonna use this to mix with the coleslaw and some red pepper. In this bowl, I've got some shredded cabbage, some peppers, cilantro, green onion, and some shredded carrot. I'm also gonna squeeze some lime juice before I put the dressing in, because I think that'll be good with that. Yeah, if you ever have those bagged salads and they go bad, don't throw the dressing out, because you can use it. You can use it another way. All right, so here is what my bowl looks like tonight for dinner. So I've got the cabbage here that I mixed with some of that sesame dressing, and I put the toppings in there, and cilantro, lime juice, etc. I've got some cucumbers and my pork. And then I added a little bit of this P.F. Chang's Sriracha Mayo Dynamite sauce. I don't know, I saw it at Hy-Vee. So that's what I'm having for dinner tonight. And here's a look at a bowl that I made with rice and some dumplings on the side. This turned out so good and made a lot of leftovers. So another thing that I made this week that was sort of a throwback for me were some apple cider muffins. So I actually think I saw this muffin mix at Dollar Tree the last time I was there and decided to pick it up and make them for the kids. These Martha White muffin mixes, I don't know why, but I used to get these all of the time in college. college. I think just because they were super cheap and I could make them into muffins for dessert, but I would also make them into pancakes a lot. I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be a pancake recipe on the back of this muffin package, and I remember making those in college all the time. So this was kind of, I don't know, I guess a nostalgic muffin mix for me. So the apple cider flavor is actually really good. I've never tried that flavor before, and obviously it doesn't make that many muffins, but it was kind of fun to just whip these up one night. Obviously super easy. You just mix them with milk, and this would obviously be something super fun for your kids to help you with too. And I love the apple cider flavor for fall, so if you see that at the grocery store, highly recommend picking it up. Okay, so on this particular weekend morning, I was going to make some biscuits and gravy. So I really like the frozen biscuits that you can get. I have gotten the Pillsbury ones, but the Walmart brand ones are just as good. And I think that they're actually a lot better than the canned biscuits. They do take a little bit longer to bake, but I think that they are the closest to homemade biscuits that you can get. And they're just super convenient. So I'm sauteing up some sausage links, and then I had a packet of sausage gravy in the pantry. I actually obviously know how to make sausage gravy from scratch, but Adam actually prefers the packet gravy. I don't know why. But I went ahead and mixed that up and put it on the stove. And then I'm also going to make some scrambled eggs with that. So I'm just cracking some eggs into a bowl with a little bit of half and half. And then I'm going to season that with salt and pepper, and I'll whisk those up. My kids are not huge fans of biscuits and gravy. Actually, Connor will eat biscuits and gravy if there's not like big chunks of sausage in it, but my kids, both of them, like biscuits with jelly. So a lot of times when I make biscuits and gravy for breakfast, they will have whatever meat I make with the scrambled eggs, and then I can just make them some biscuits with jelly on them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fix Adam's plate. I put some scrambled eggs on there, and I'm adding some of that sausage gravy to the biscuits and some sausage links, if I could talk, on the side. Obviously we have this for breakfast, but this would be a great dinner meal as well, and super inexpensive. Okay, so next up I'm going to make kind of some copycat hibachi at home. So these are the ingredients that I'm going to be using for the marinade for the meat. I am making steak and chicken. I don't know why, this just sounded really good, and obviously it's not going to be super authentic because I'm going to cook it on the grill, but the flavors were spot on. So I'll link this recipe down below. Definitely recommend the marinade. I didn't even marinate the meat for that long. I want to say like maybe 30 to 45 minutes, and it was still super flavorful. But I'm just adding all of those ingredients to a measuring cup so I can whisk that up and pour it over the meat. There's some garlic in there, ginger, hoisin, vinegar, sesame oil, and soy sauce, and this was perfect. I actually doubled the marinade recipe because I was going to be marinating one batch of chicken and one batch of steak. So I'm using some strip steaks, and I'm just putting them into a shallow dish, and I'm going to add the marinade over the top. I did also salt these steaks lightly just to make sure that they were good and seasoned, but I just sat that on the counter to come to room temperature while it was marinating, and then I'm actually going to cook these on the gas grill. I know, not authentic, but that's what we were working with today. I also had 4 chicken breasts. I went ahead and marinated those as well. You can do this for longer. Obviously, you could probably do it the night before in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator, and it would work out really well, but I'm going to make some rice with this. So I'm making a large batch of rice, so I'm going to make it in my Instant Pot, which is my favorite way to do it. And then I also wanted to make kind of that, I don't know what it's called. Is it called yum yum sauce? Basically that kind of like sweet and spicy mayo sauce that you get to dip your meat and veggies in with the rice. So I mixed all of those ingredients up. I'll post that link for that recipe down below as well. It was like mayo and some tomato paste and some different other seasonings. I wanted to make more veggies with this, but I just was using what I had in my crisper drawer because we were getting ready to go out of town and I didn't want to buy a bunch of extra stuff. So I went ahead and cut up some carrots, and I'm just going to cook those in a skillet in some simmering water. If I had zucchini on hand, I would have cooked some of that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grill those steaks over about medium heat, and while those are cooking, I'm going to slice up some cucumbers. I really love this mandolin slicer from OXO. I'll link it down below if I can find it on Amazon. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find, but I really like making this cucumber salad. I'll show you the other ingredients here in a minute, but for the carrots, I season those with soy sauce and salt and pepper and a little bit of butter, and I kind of just let that melt together in the skillet so those carrots would get a little bit glazed. And then after the steak was flipped halfway through, I went ahead and put the chicken on. Just make sure that you cook this over, I would say, about medium heat. Since there is a little bit of sugar in the, that marinade, it can tend to flare up a little bit, as you can see here. But I just wanted to grill these steaks to about medium level of doneness, and then I will let them rest, and then we're going to obviously slice them up to have with the veggies and the rice. So here's what the chicken looked like and the steak after it was done cooking, and I let it rest. I am slicing my steak semi-thin, I guess, and this new knife I got, actually, the company sent it to me, so I'll link it down below. They gave me a coupon code as well. I really, really like it. I think the brand is Nakano. But it works really well. I guess I didn't show you what I put in the cucumbers, but there was rice vinegar, salt and pepper, and sesame oil in those, and we had the meat and the rice with the veggies. Super, super delicious. Really recommend this. All right, so we're going to be going to a family gathering tonight, and I'm going to bring some macaroni salad. So I'll put the recipe down below that I'm using, but I'm going to use half of this box of Elmo noodles. While my macaroni is cooling, I'm making up the dressing. So this has mayo, sour cream, some sweet pickle juice, red wine vinegar, sugar, Dijon, salt, pepper. I need to add a little bit of garlic powder, and that is it. I added in some diced up sweet pickles, some green onions, and some bell pepper. If I had celery, I would add celery as well, but I don't have any right now. The last thing that I'm gonna add is just a couple of hard-boiled eggs that I'm dicing up, and that is it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the fridge to chill. I will link this macaroni salad recipe down below. It was so good, and I highly, highly recommend it. So I was also gonna bring pumpkin bars tonight, but I totally ran out of time to put all that together, but I do have time to make some cookies. So I've got a bag of butterscotch chips. I'm just gonna make the oatmeal scotchies that are on the back of this. So I've got some butter in my mixer along with some white sugar and brown sugar. I'm just gonna cream that. Okay, so I added egg, vanilla, 1 1/4 cups of flour, baking powder. See my messy spice cabinet back there? What? Half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt, and that is it. Well, that is not it. I have to add the butterscotch chips. Okay, 10 to 12 minutes. All right, so I looked everywhere and I could not find the clip of the finished cookies, so I'm sorry about that. But we are moving on to a very fast, quick, and easy meal of creamed chipped beef on toast. You guys may know it better as shit on a shingle. It is something that Adam really likes. It's kind of like a comfort food for him, so I make it for him every once in a while. Basically, you just get some dried beef, you chop that up, and then you make a white sauce. So flour and butter in a saucepan, equal parts. Normally I use about 1/4 cup of each, and then I just cook that together over medium heat to kind of get that raw taste out of the flour. I add salt, pepper, about 2 cups of milk, and then my chipped beef that I chopped up. If the beef is super salty, I do sometimes rinse it, which I know sounds weird, but sometimes you can get some that's super, super salty. But I would also recommend not adding salt. Actually, like I said, don't add salt to the white sauce until you taste it, because it can get super salty. But then you can just season it to taste, and I cut up some buttered toast and put that on a plate. And then you can put the creamed chipped beef over the top. I also know that people make this with hamburger as well, but let me know if this was one of your favorite childhood dishes. Okay, so next I'm gonna make some authentic hot dogs and some jalapeno poppers. I did make breakfast this morning. I've got some bacon left over here, and I think what I'm gonna do with that is, I thought I would make these stuffed jalapenos, because I have all of the ingredients for them, and it's kind of a different take on the bacon wrapped cream cheese jalapenos that I normally make. So for these jalapeno poppers, I've got 4 ounces of the 1/3 less fat cream cheese in here, and I went ahead and chopped up 6 of the leftover bacon strips from this morning, so I'm gonna put those in there. I chopped up some cilantro and 2 scallions, and I'm gonna add those to the bowl. I went ahead and mixed up the cream cheese mixture, and then I shredded some cheddar and some Monterey Jack cheese, so I'm gonna add that. So I washed up my jalapenos, and then I went ahead and added 1 egg yolk and a couple of tablespoons of panko to the filling. So the filling is all done. There's also some lime juice and some cumin in there. What I'm gonna do now is cut my jalapenos in half and roast them just for a couple minutes to get them soft. The recipe says to sprinkle these with salt, which I've never thought about doing that before, so that's a good idea. I put the jalapenos face down on a rack on a sheet tray, and I'm gonna put these in the oven 500 degrees for 5 minutes. So I went ahead and stuffed my partially cooked jalapenos with the cheese mixture, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and refrigerate these until it's time to cook them. Okay, so and I'm going to start on dinner. So I've got some hamburger here for the hamburgers and some hot dogs as well. Okay, so this is 85/15 ground beef, which tends to kind of flame up a lot on the grill, but it's also a little bit more flavorful because it has more fat in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just form it into 4 4-ounce portions. So when I make burgers, I like to use wax paper because it helps flatten them evenly. So I just put it between 2 pieces of wax paper and then flatten it like that.
I heard you start talking about how you like to do burgers, and I was like, oh yeah, how can you do that one for?
Please tell me how you like your burgers.
Please tell me more. I've seen you do that before.
What?
Thanks for telling me.
I know that there are different burger maker devices that you can get out there, but I find that this is the easiest and cheapest way. I'm just gonna season these with some Lowry seasoned salt. All right, and then I flipped them over. I'm gonna season on the other side. Here are the jalapeno poppers I made yesterday, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick those in the oven. Probably, I don't know, 400, 450 for 20 minutes. All right, so this is the most authentic hot dog I could get. I do have the Vienna beef franks, and then I put some poppy seeds on the buns. I've got a dill pickle, tomatoes, sweet relish, onions, and mustard. The only thing I couldn't get was sport peppers. We don't have those here. Here are the jalapeno poppers from yesterday. They look super good. Okay, so on this night I made BLTs. I feel like BLTs are something that I make a lot because it's easy. Everyone likes it, and I feel like I mostly always have the stuff on hand. So I like to bake my bacon in the oven on a parchment lined baking sheet if I can, if I have time. And then I also had a head of lettuce in the refrigerator that I went ahead and washed up. I had some tomatoes on hand. They are not the best. They're just grocery store tomatoes, but I do slice them and season them with salt and pepper so that they are a little bit more flavorful flavorful before I build the sandwiches. And then I like to toast the bread for BLTs. So I am just going to spread those with some mayo and then add the bacon, lettuce, and tomato. I think on this particular night I had some mac and cheese in the pantry, so that is what I made on the side, but this wasn't necessarily something that I planned for. I just happened to have all of the ingredients on hand. You guys probably see me make these all the time, but if you haven't tried seasoning your tomatoes with salt and pepper before you make your BLT, I highly recommend that. And then someone mentioned also in one of my last videos where I made BLTs that they like cheese on theirs, which I like that as well, but I don't always put it on my family members' sandwiches. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut those in half and put them on a plate. And like I said, I did make some mac and cheese on the side of this, so that is what we had for dinner on this particular night. And then I also wanted to show you guys a weekend breakfast that I made. This was eggs Benedict, and then I also made some pretzel breakfast sandwiches with some hash browns on the side. All right, so I'm just crisping up these potatoes in a skillet. Okay, so I made some hollandaise out of a packet because, you know, fancy. And I cooked some English muffins and Canadian bacon, poached a couple eggs. And I like my eggs poached hard, so hopefully, oh, that one's a little runny, but it's acceptable. Okay, so I made these breakfast sandwiches for Adam. So these are the little pretzel sliders. I put some of this everything aioli on there, just a little bit. Bacon, egg, and cheese, and some hash browns. So these were some freezer breakfast casseroles that I made. The recipes are on the Freezer Fit website, which is linked in my description box below. One had a crescent roll crust and the other one had some hash browns in it. So I decided to bake these up for just some breakfast meal prep throughout the week. The one with the crescent rolls did take a little bit longer to bake. Here's what the hash brown one looked like. Really good. I always love a good hash brown breakfast casserole. Don't forget to check out Beam if you guys are looking to sleep better at night. I'll have that link in the description box below. You can also scan the QR code on the screen right here. Use code Chapin for up to 35% off. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.